Hey, everybody. How's it going? Welcome back to the second episode of Command Your Social. I am your host, Nick Baldwin. I have my awesome co-host with me again today, Leslie Jackson. What's up, Leslie?
What's up, Nick? Happy Monday. So excited to be here today with our awesome guest.
We have something really important to talk about and someone extremely important to bring on to the show today. His name is Tyler Shields. What's up, Tyler? He's one of the biggest mega agents in the Colorado region for Keller Williams. Tyler, how's it going, man?
It is going well. I'm doing very well. Thanks for having me, guys. Excited to be here.
Thank you for being here. We brought Tyler on today because Tyler has a team with about 13 or 14 agents, maybe more since the last time we talked to him. He's out of the Denver area. Tyler, is that accurate? Okay, he's out of the Denver area. And Tyler's business depends a lot on internet lead generation. They're on track to close about 100 internet leads this year, with a good amount of them being from social media, Facebook and Instagram. And so because Tyler is so big on social media lead gen, we thought he'd be a great person to bring on and talk to us about his strategy and how his team closes at such a high level. And you guys are on track to do like 1 million GCI from internet leads. Is that correct?
Yep. Yeah. We'll exceed 1 million in GCI this year from internet leads for sure.
Just from internet leads.
That's amazing. Amazing.
Huge. 100 or more internet leads. Now there's something I wanted to get out of the way, Tyler, because I feel like there's this elephant in the room and people really need to know. Tyler used to work at Zillow. Now, listen, guys, don't start throwing tomatoes just yet.
Don't be haters.
The key word there is used to. He wised up. He got out of there while he still could. Tyler, it's important that you used to work at Zillow because you don't buy Zillow leads. You do Facebook. So talk to us about the difference between a Zillow lead and a Facebook lead.
Yeah, well, just think of me like as a double spy. Like I went behind the scenes for you guys. So you guys didn't have to, but then I just like stole all the good stuff and left them in shambles, right? No, as I left Zillow and I moved into real estate, my loyalty was not to Zillow. My loyalty is to my real estate team. So I was committed to doing whatever was going to be best for my agents and my team. And for a brief time, that was Zillow leads, but it has not been Zillow leads for a long time. So we love Facebook command leads. Like we love those types of leads, primarily because we have the control. Zillow doesn't have the control. We have the control. So I get to control how many leads I want. I get to control how much I'm spending. If I want to stop spending tomorrow, if I want to take a break for 2 weeks, if I want to double my spend, I can do that. I'm not at the mercy of them. And so that's been one of the most important things, quite honestly, is the difference between Zillow and a command lead is that I have complete control over the command.
So when you're talking about, so one of the big differentiating factors is with Zillow, you pay for a zip code and you get leads all the time, and you can't stop or decide how many you're going to get. They give you some sort of like average, right? And it costs the same every single month. So if you're going to get 10, it costs X. If you got 5, it costs X. But with Facebook, you can turn that on and off as needed and control the amount of leads that come in and the amount that you're going to spend, right?
Yeah, 100%. And like, if you think about, if you're spending some money on leads and closing 1 or 2 deals here or there, that's great. But to grow a business my size, to have $1 million in gross revenue, depending on some other company to generate these leads for me, what's going to happen inevitably is when that year contract is up, they're going to say, hey, we'll still give you the leads, but now it's going to be 50% more, right? They control the cost. And because I built a huge portion of my business on those leads, I'm going to probably say, all right, I don't want to do it, but
Tyler, so I think a lot of the frustration that agents have around Facebook compared to Zillow leads is that Facebook leads tend to be at a different place in the motivation or readiness factor than Zillow leads, right? So what can you say to agents who have maybe the wrong expectations? Like, oh, let's go into Facebook and we'll generate leads for $2 and we'll close it and it'll be an incredible ROI and these people will buy houses. but that's not typically the case. It doesn't happen that fast, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think the important thing is the best thing about a Facebook lead is you now are in control of the process. But one of the hardest parts of a Facebook lead is you are in control of the whole process. And so it's not Zillow's job to nurture the lead for 3 months and then deliver them to you when they're ready to take action. It is now your job to do that. You bought back that job by not paying Zillow exorbitant fees. And so now it costs you a lot less for the lead, but it is now your job to make sure you stay top of mind and you nurture them. And so it can be as simple as making sure that they're on your website and looking at homes there, and you're staying top of mind until they're ready. You have to understand that the average Zillow lead has been looking on Zillow for 2 or 3 months before they become a lead and take action. So you need to be prepared for them to do that on your website before before they take action. So just have some patience. But if you're willing to give it a couple months, make sure you can just stay top of mind and customer service oriented. You may not get to control when buying a home is their top priority, but you can control being top of mind whenever they are ready.
Got it. I just have a really quick question. And then I know Leslie has a bunch of questions that she's like bursting to ask you. But you have a team of what, 13 agents?
Yeah, we're about at 15 now between 2 locations, Denver and
2 locations in Denver and in Phoenix.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, cool. So like, what is your overall strategy? That might be a very big question, but what is your overall social media advertising strategy?
Sure. Yeah. So, I mean, there's a couple different ways that I can kind of take this approach, but I would say, like, first and foremost, when I look at the health of my agents, I think it's like obvious that most agents would love to like make all the money they ever want, working with people they know, love, and trust, working with their sphere of influence. But not all of us can step directly into a business like that. And I have a lot of agents that are newer in the process or in a new area. So generally what I want to do is I want to help support their business with online leads and these other avenues as they grow their database. And they may just continue working online leads to supplement their sphere, or online leads may then grow their sphere to the point where then they can stop working leads if they want, and they can just close deals from their sphere. So for my agents, that's how I want to see them grow. So generally, my approach for online leads is I just want to generate as many leads as possible. I want them to be as cheap. I want to have as many as I can, because I'm going to trust my process for converting those leads. And so there are certainly ways where you can work really hard to get a higher quality lead, but I trust my follow-up process to be able to convert that lead. I mean, there are people that make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year just knocking on random strangers' doors. So for me, if I can just generate a lead, I don't care the quality of that lead. I want as many as possible. So generally, that's kind of our strategy. So I can feed these people, supplement them, especially newer agents would rather have 60 leads and people to call than like 2 a month that if you wait 3 months, one of them will close. Like they'd rather have something to do, right? And so that's generally what we look for with our team.
Awesome.
Awesome. Tyler, I have 2 questions for you. First question is, when did you decide to change over from Zillow to Facebook ads, and why? Like, what really kind of stirred you and your team to say, hey, let's go and try this? I know I have more control this way, but was there something that kind of, triggered you and your team to move totally into Facebook? And when did that happen?
Yeah, definitely. It happened just a little over 3 years ago. It was August of 2018. I remember exactly what month it was. But what triggered us to do it, like I said, is not because like I thought Zillow was taking over the world, so I needed to move my spend elsewhere. What triggered it was our return on investment had dropped below what I was willing to have as a standard for our team. Like literally the cost kept going up. The conversion rate did not increase with the cost, and the return I was getting on the money I was spending didn't make sense anymore. And so I looked at that and I said, I need a better avenue to get a better return on my investment. And so that was Facebook. And then that was Facebook and Google AdWords type leads. And so August of 2018 is when we made that switch over to Facebook, Google AdWords leads. And we started off with paying another company to run those ads for us, and then eventually moved to us running them ourselves through command. But yeah, that was the switch. Primarily, just like I said, like my loyalties to whatever's in the best interest of my team. And so it was about return on investment and my agents closing deals. And that was the reason.
That's amazing. And I just want to say, for every team out there that's listening right now, please take note.
Yeah,
it's
right.
all about saving money, making more money, and then also building wealth for your team at the same time, helping them build their database at a really low cost. I think that's amazing.
And the interesting thing I'll add to that is, like, I have noticed since 2018, Zillow has become an expert at convincing you why your ROI is better than what you think. And so, like, now, I bet you talk to anyone that's buying Zillow leads now, at some point their sales rep has told them, yeah, but don't you understand your ROI is not just the deals that close, it's they become a past client and then you'll get deals from them in the future. And so then think about all that future revenue you can get. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. And that's also true of every other lead source that ever was invented ever.
But a lot of these, a lot of these platforms are telling you that because they're moving to a referral-based platform, a referral-based model. So they want to track those leads or buyers that they give you for when the buyers or leads close, they become a past client. And then 5 to 7 years later, that person buys or sells again. That platform then wants to make a referral fee from you on that.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot that goes on behind what they're telling you.
Okay, Tyler, my second question for you, because I told you I had two. What ads are working for you that you're using right now that you could share to the group? And be as descriptive as possible, because, not everybody can see our screens. We're on a podcast right now. Tyler, take it away.
Yeah. So I want to preface this by saying, like, one thing I love best about Command, and I've said it a million times, is you have control. And so there's a lot of different types of ads you can run that will work for you. As I've taught a lot of classes with Nick about this. And one thing I love is, like, he runs very different ads than what I run. And they're equally as effective for us because of our goals. And so I'll just give you the type of, like I stated, like, the type of ad that I look for specifically for my team is a lot of leads at a cheap cost per lead. And what I want is just to maximize the number of phone numbers and emails I can get so that my team has people to go work, right? That's my priority. And you can have different priorities and still be effective. But so one example of an ad that works really well for us is, I like to build an ad that's centered around something a lot of people are looking for in your area, right? So if you just think empathetically and you go, okay, what would be something that most people I know would be excited about? So recently, the type of ad we like to run a lot is single family homes in Denver under $400,000 with recent price drops, right? So think about that and I go, first of all, like, most anyone would love to have a single family home in the Denver area under 400,000. They're fewer and far between now, but let alone in our crazy market with multiple offers, something that has recent price drops, they could actually get their offer accepted on, right? And the other reason I like that general idea is because most people know they could go to Zillow to find homes for sale under 400,000. But when you add something unique, like with recent price drops, that person goes, I'm not even sure I could find that on Zillow or how I would find that. But I know if I click on this link, I can find it, right? So I'm trying to give them something everyone wants and something that in their brain might be unique to the link that popped up in their Facebook timeline versus what they could find somewhere else. So start with that concept. What are people looking for that's unique, right? And then I'm going to build an ad around it. And so just some basic things that work well for us. One, when I run a type of search like this, I do generally like to put multiple photos because I want everyone to see something that may correlate to what they're looking for. So I might put the outside photo of a 2-story home, but then I'll probably also put the outside photo of a ranch style home because I want to sort of paint the picture of, hey, here's a home for you, right? If I just put ranch style, there may be someone ignorant enough to think like, oh, there's no 2-story homes on that link, right? So I want to make sure I paint that picture. And then my ad copy is very general. It's basically just restating what I said. Single family homes under 400,000 in Denver with recent price drops. There's always some call to action, like click below for more info. And it's riddled with emojis. There's emojis everywhere. Emojis matter. It captures that attention. And so then everything about the copy, like even the subject kind of line there still just says like homes under 400,000. The description still says, click here to see homes under 400,000. So it's all just that basic information. I'm not giving away too much information in the ad copy because I want them to click to get more, right? So I'm going to run something like that in terms of what the ad copy looks like. And then in the targeting section, generally I'm going to split some like home search sites and then some like mortgage interest. So I may say I want to target people that are interested in Zillow, that are interested in realtor.com, that are interested in homes.com. And then I may also add people that are interested in mortgage calculator or like a new mortgage, something like that. Try to split that.
You said a lot of things there that I thought were super important and interesting. So the pictures that you're using are photos of different styles of homes, because if somebody doesn't see a home that, well, if somebody doesn't see a style of home that's interesting to them or appealing, they may not click. Yeah. So it's important to have, you know, a 2-story colonial, a 1-level ranch, maybe a photo of a condo, maybe something, you know, with maybe, I don't know what kind of houses you have in Colorado, but in New Jersey, you know, like a Victorian, something that has a lot of character, you know, so that's really important because people click on ads when they see something that is appealing to them. So you're giving them, you know, 4 or 5 images of different style of homes so you can appeal to all different types of interests, which I think is really important to understand. And by the way, guys, you know, I know that you're listening to this on a podcast, so it may be hard to visualize. We're going to drop a link in the show notes below. So when you're listening, click that link and you'll be able to see, you know, 3 or 4 examples of Tyler's ads. So you can go and kind of create those on your own. So Tyler, and also I thought it was interesting, like, you know, find out what people in your market want, right? Totally. And every market's different. So do that research. So Tyler, people will definitely want to know, how much are you spending per ad and what is your average cost per lead?
Yeah. So I think like my sweet spot, like when I first started off building the ads, was I spent about $30 over 7 days. So I was spending roughly about like $4 a day, something like that, a little bit more than that. That was kind of my sweet spot when I started for my area. And then we would see our cost per lead somewhere between $2 to $3 a lead is what we would see. So, you know, if you got $3 a lead, that's about what 10 leads you would get in that week just from that one ad. And I will say what we learned is, as long as I kept that spend per day about the same, you can run longer ads and still see similar results. So I stopped wanting to run new ads every week. And so I would run them for 45 days, but still keep the spend around $4 a day. And I still saw a similar cost per lead.
Yeah, I can attest to that. Where like I've run ads for $10 a day for 5 days. And then I've run ads for $2 a day for 30 days. And I've literally gotten the same cost per lead and the same amount of leads. It just happens to be a slow trickle the longer it is, or just a lot of leads all at once. It just kind of depends on what you're looking for. So conversion, right? A lot of people think, hey, you know, I'm going to get $3 leads and I'm going to convert like crazy. That may not be the case. But then you also have to think, really though, for $3, do you expect to get someone who wants to buy a house right now? That's why a Zillow lead could be $1,000. Because you literally open the door and they want to make an offer. Now, I'm not saying you won't get someone like that on Facebook, but you typically won't, right, Tyler?
Yeah. I mean, everything's the law of averages. So you, of course, will occasionally get a lead that's like, okay, I want to go write an offer on this property right now. But like, that's not going to be the average result. You're going to have people like that and people that are like, no, thank you, leave me alone. And you'll have everything in between. And so, you know, we really like to operate on about a 1% conversion rate is kind of what we're looking for, ideally. But when I run math for people, I like to say, let's assume that you're half as good as that. Let's just assume that you convert at a 0.5% conversion rate, meaning every 200 leads you get, one of them closes, right? But if you do that math at $3 a lead times 200 leads, that's $600 you just spent to get one closing, right? And I don't know who out there wouldn't spend $600 to get one closing. So then that key just becomes understanding that process to convert them and understanding that process of sifting through those 100, 200 leads to find the one that's actually going to end up closing.
Yeah. So it's a matter of having the right expectations. You know, if you generate 100 leads, you know, for $200 and you close one, that's a positive ROI. I'm pretty sure anywhere in the country, the average commission is higher than $200. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. But yeah, so that's what I think.
Tyler, my next question for you is about the follow-up. What are you doing for following up with these leads? How are you doing it? How often? What's the cadence? Tell everyone here that's listening in.
Yeah. So I mean, I think this is really like the key. This is the magic that's going to go from like actually making money from these ads. I think like, especially in the command platform, running an ad is simple enough. Like most of you guys can figure out, like just look at our ad copy in the show notes. Like most of you guys will figure out how to generate some leads, but converting them with the follow-up process is going to be key. So the two elements of the follow-up process: how often am I reaching out? And then what am I saying when I get a hold of them? So basic kind of information up front. I try to reach out 14 times in the first week. And if I don't get a hold of them, 14 more times over the next 4 weeks. So it's more frequent in the beginning and then less frequent as we go on. So if I haven't gotten a hold of them, it's because I've tried to reach out almost 30 times in the first 5 weeks. And that's going to be a mix of phone, email, text, just trying to get a hold of them, just trying to get them on the line and hear what they say. Right now, if I get a hold of them, then I think the important thing is you want to understand where they're at in the process, right? Like we said, they're not like a Zillow or a Sphere referral where it's like, hey, I see you're looking to buy a house. How can I help? You need to understand that they may not even know they're looking to buy a home yet. They didn't go to Facebook to look at homes for sale. They were just on Facebook. Now, all of a sudden, they're looking at homes and what the heck's going on, right? So I think your best approach is like a customer service type person. You just take an approach of, hey, it's Tyler. I see you were looking at some homes I posted online. Any questions about anything you're looking at? That is gentle and just like connect on the commonality of, okay, you were looking at some homes. I'm not going to assume you're looking to buy a house tomorrow, but you were looking at some homes. Can I help? Right? Most of the time they're going to say, no, thank you. Like, and just kind of, and say, just browsing. So I think the most important thing there is just to affirm that and go, great, keep looking, right? Because remember, we want them to keep looking on our site so that when they're ready, they're going to come back to us. And then what I typically try to do is just let them imagine a little bit like, well, if you found the perfect property, when would you want to move in, right? Like no pressure, but if you found the perfect home, when would you want to move in? And then try to work backwards from there, asking them questions about what does that perfect home look like? And try to build some rapport as they're describing their perfect home. Like, oh, 5 bedrooms. Do you have kids, right? My goal at the end of that conversation is I have an idea of when they would buy if they found the perfect property. I have an idea of what the perfect property is. And I've made a connection and I've built some rapport. And ultimately, I've built enough rapport and built enough relationship that they're going to keep looking at homes on my website. And then my goal after that is just to stay in touch every week or two, stay top of mind so that when they're ready, I'm the first agent they think about. So
I love it. I love it. And I just love how purposeful you are. 14 times, right? It's not like 15 or 6, you know exactly how this all goes down because I'm assuming you're just, process of elimination over the course of time of working with leads and understanding like how often you follow up with them. So you guys take note of what Tyler just said. This is liquid gold. That's amazing.
Yeah. So Tyler, my question is with your follow-up, is any of it automated?
Great question. Yes, most of it.
Okay, so which are the aspects that are automated?
Yeah, so every text and email that goes out is automated. And so think of those 28 touches, 20 of them are automated, 8 of them are not. And so the only thing that's not automated is the phone calls that I'm physically making. And so I do 4 in that first week, 4 over that next 4 weeks if I don't get a hold of them. Everything else, so the rest of the 20 touches, text and email is all automated.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, because the agents are going to be like, well, how do you text someone, 14 times in a week? And, what if there's 30 or 40 different people to do that? Now, Tyler is using KW Command to send out his text messages. If you are listening to this and you're not a KW agent, there are systems out there like agentlegend.com, which is another system that allows you to automate text and emails. A lot of the CRMs like Follow Up Boss allow you to do that, Lion Desk. So there are other technology platforms out there that allow you to automate your follow-up if you're not an agent using Command. And also Tyler is using Command to run his ads, but you can also run those ads through Facebook or other platforms also have Facebook platforms built into them. as well, but he so happens to use the KW technology. Well, there's like so much that I learned just from this short conversation. And I think everyone who's listening probably just had their mind blown. Now, listen, Tyler will close 100 internet leads. Now, remember, he's got 15 agents, right? So what is your 100? Is your 125? Is it 30? Maybe it's just 10, right? And the thing with Facebook, you know, from what I've taken away is you got to have patience. The conversion rate will seem low, but the ROI will always be huge, because if you're generating leads for $3 and you're spending $100 on an ad and you convert one, that's $100 well spent. So that's kind of how you have to look at it, I think. Would you agree, or is there another way?
No, totally. I mean, I just wanted to share a story to drive that home. 2 weeks ago, I was teaching a business planning clinic at just a random market center, not my own, not my office. And someone came up to me and said, Tyler, a year ago, I was part of one of your trainings where you're talking about command ads, and I was a brand new agent, and like 100 leads was not what I was going to do, but I needed something. And so I took all these strategies and I implemented them. And over the past year, I've closed 7 deals from internet leads. And as a brand new agent, like that's made the difference in me having a real estate career or not having a real estate career. And so like, that's a great example of amazing success. It's not anywhere close to 100, but it's like life-changing for him. And that's what matters most, is what do you need and the center around that. So.
That's a great story. I love it. Well, Tyler, thank you so much for being on the show. Our second episode, man, you blew it out of the water. I'm sure it's going to be one that agents will listen to over and over again. And like I said, in the show notes below, make sure to click on the link that will take you to a few copies of Tyler's ads that you guys can get some inspiration from. Also, please subscribe, leave a review, follow us, share us. Command Your Social needs to be the biggest social media focused podcast. It might even be the only one. So make us number one, and we're the only one in the category. I think that would be a huge feat, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Tyler.
Thanks, Tyler.
Thanks, guys.
We'll see you next time, guys. Make sure to tune in. See you later. Bye.